Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on One Day, OneDoane, a day we celebrate Doane by giving to support the life-changing education that Doane provides. I'm Ann Hageman, the Interim Alumni Director. Today, I'm here with Amanda Higgins, a Doane alum. And I'm going to have you start and tell everybody what brought you to Doane.
What brought me to Doane? Actually, I just kind of fell into it when I was a senior in high school. Our high school used to have like different places you could go and visit for college visits. And so a big group of friends and I from Northeast went up and just toured Doane, and we really liked it. I went from having a humongous, like 666 graduating class to a smaller school. And it was actually really exciting because then you got the chance to kind of meet everybody else. And so that was actually what originally drew me to Doane Crete. And I loved it a lot, but life changes, and I ended up transferring to Doane-Lincoln after my freshman year. And it was really nice because it was a lot non-traditional, and we had a little bit of all different age gaps. It was a really nice experience with everybody. And that was kind of what stuck me with Doane-Lincoln then, because I really liked having the different age gaps and not having kids that were all 18, 19 years old. So.
Oh, thank you. Who inspired you at Doane?
In undergrad, I had, oh my goodness, I'm going to blank his name. He passed away a couple years ago, but he was one of the chemistry professors. Oh my goodness, I can't even think, but he was amazing. He really stuck with me because I was struggling really hard through chemistry. And he was one of the ones that just, you know how to do this, Amanda. You just need to practice it. I mean, just really stuck with me and made me feel really confident in my skills. So I was able to pass through chemistry, which is great because I did not have the confidence in myself, and he pushed me to have it. So in undergrad, it would have been him. And it's bugging me because I can't think of his name, but as soon as we're not talking anymore, I'll remember it. But in actual, when I got to Doane-Lincoln, we had quite a few. I had amazing instructors at Doane-Lincoln. Gina Larson was one that stuck with me a long time. Brenda Karsten. And then Deb Studo was one of the ones from grad school, because I've literally done everything. So I have a bachelor's and 2 masters from Doane. And so I've had amazing people on every step of every journey that I've had. And it's hard. I can't name all of them.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Angie Classic too, when you were looking for a way to get your teaching certificate that do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, that's great. After I finished my first master's, I had planned on going to law school, but I fell into working at a school, and I loved the environment, but I didn't have my teaching certificate. And I tried to go through UNL, and I had a really not great experience. They didn't make me feel welcomed, and I wasn't really happy with the whole situation. And then they decided to delay their program. And so I ended up calling Angie Classic after, because she was my undergrad and advisor, and I just told her, Angie, I really want to get my teaching certificate. I can't get into UNL because they're delaying their program, and I need something. Do you have anything for me? Does Doane have this? And she just laughed. She's like, I'm pretty sure we have a pilot starting for elementary, so let me check and I'll get back to you. So she got in contact with Deb Studo, and here I am all these years later as now a teacher.
That's great.
So it was great. I've had helpful people seriously every step of the way, and it's been amazing. So
yeah, thank you. How has Doane helped you? You've talked a little bit about it already, but is there anything else you want to say about how Doane helped you achieve your goals?
yes, they have been there. I have been a person who loves to learn, and I have started in every career field possible because I wasn't quite sure what I knew. Like, I didn't know what I wanted, and I thought I wanted to be a nurse. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer, and Doane's just always been really flexible with helping me kind of find my path. Even though it's changed so many times, they've just kind of laughed with me and like, all right, that's what we're here for. We have kind of a book of everything. So what do you need? And that has been really helpful. And I mean, honestly, it's probably what's kept me at Doane. I've been at Doane or a part of Doane for almost 20 years. So, I mean, I can't even say I could probably buy a house for as much as I keep giving you guys money, because I think it's so much. But it has been a really good learning experience, and I've liked all the different types of personalities and age gaps. So I really liked Doane Crete. I really liked Doane Lincoln. And I mean, every step of the way, even when I went to the education department for grad school, and when I did the management program for my first master's, I mean, I've gained so much out of it. It's made me that much better as a mom, a teacher. So I just, in general, I'm a lifelong learner. And so I always go back to my experiences from Doane.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, a real lifelong learner. That's right. What do you want to share a Doane memory?
Yeah, one that always comes back to me, and when we talked about this the other day, it took me a few minutes of like, gosh, what was one thing that just really hit home with me? And so, my very first year at Doane at Crete or in Crete, we had that was the inner term that you guys have when you come back in January.
Yeah.
I took was Children of Freedom, and it was one of the best classes I've ever taken, like hands down. I learned so much from it. I grew up in a huge mixed family, and a lot of times, in places, especially like down way back then, there wasn't a whole lot of diversity. And I've noticed like the longer it's been, it's definitely have changed a lot over the years. And it's been really interesting to watch. But that was one class where even growing up in a diverse family and a diverse high school, I I didn't get a chance to really dig deep into some of the like civil rights leaders and stuff that we've done. And it was funny because our very first day in there, this lady came in and she was a lifelong learner like myself. And I want to say she was like 78. And she came into our inner term class, and that was the class she decided to take because apparently she comes to Doane Crete every year and takes a class. And it just cracked me up because I'm like, I'm going to be that lady. I'm going to be that lady when I'm like 78 years old and coming into classes with college kids because I want to expand my knowledge. And for me, that was just always one of my favorite things because her saying in there was, "You're never too old to learn." And so that was always one of the things where I was like, that's going to be me.
Yeah, that's a good goal. That's a good goal. Yeah. Do you want to talk about some important work that you see Doane doing now?
Definitely the diversity. I think that was one thing that was a little bit of a culture shock for me. My very first year there was I came from Northeast and we had a huge diverse population. And then I went to Doane Lincoln and I think we had like 10 Black kids on campus. And for me, growing out of a huge mixed family that I have, it was a little bit of a culture shock for myself. But I know for some other families that came in, that was like a big deal for them. And so it was like a good learning experience. But as the years have passed, I've noticed it's became more diverse, even with like the non-traditional students, because I ended up transferring to Doane Lincoln. It even became even more diverse then because you have so many different pieces of people in so many different stages of their life. And for me, that's been a godsend, really, because I learn so much more from other people's experiences. And so taking them from every step of every part of Doane that I've been through, I've really enjoyed watching how much the culture shift has changed for that.
Is there anything else that you would like to share about Doane?
They are amazing and flexible, and they stick with you, and they really want what is best for their people. And so that's one thing that has always brought me back to Doane, because I know that for myself, knowing it took me a long time. I was 30 when I finally decided what career path that I finally really knew what was home for me. And they've just been there. It's always been kind of like another family. Like even now, I randomly still talk to instructors and stuff, or like we're friends on Facebook. And so it's nice getting to kind of see them. Is a Dana Miller. We always laugh because we have the same type of dog. And so we just we share stories. And for me, I like that family feeling. I liked having the smaller set school just because I do feel like I belong more. And that is one reason why I keep wanting to come back, because I want to come back to my family. So
Yeah, thank you. And why should students support Doane through One Day, OneDoane?
they are doing amazing things. At least from the teacher side, I see a lot of it. Since I was a former fast tracker, I've had fast trackers in my class for the last couple of years, and watching all the good things that they're doing, developing their teacher careers and just really giving back. They are a huge teaching college, and I never realized how big it was until I got more and more involved with it and how big their program is. And then you go places and they're like, you're a Doane student. And you're like, how do you know about Doane? Doane's just like this, like, I mean, small school in Nebraska and people know about Doane. And for me, that like, that's huge. If they can tell you that you're a Doane teacher, you're like, yes, I am.
Well, thank you, Amanda, so much for being here with us today.
And no problem. It's like, thanks for having me.